Right, I haven't done any actual CB repair work for since just before Christmas, for one thing and another, with Christmas and getting a bit ill, as everyone seems to over the winter this year. I haven't actually been able to get in here and do much, so we're back on it now. We've got Fidelity 2000 today. This is one from my good buddy Steve, who sends me lots of stuff to repair, which you've already seen if you've been watching the channel. You've seen a lot of Steve's radios on here, and we have a noise cancelling microphone that he would like set up on this one. That looks in rather good condition, doesn't it? That must be new old stock, unless they still make these, I don't know. But anyway, let's get this on the equipment and see what it is and isn't doing. Oh, I did notice actually, as you probably might have done, that although it doesn't look too bad, does it, that the plate, the decorative plate around the top of the switches isn't there anymore. I think it probably looks alright as it is, but you obviously need to know what these are. I'm sure you can get these. I've seen on eBay that people are doing, there's a guy that's doing foil replacement labels. I'm sure they'd be able to do one for that. Anyway, that's not my concern at the moment. Let's get it on the equipment. There we go. It's doing a 5 watts, and we're on frequency as well. We're just in our low power setting. It's not working in low power. That's quite common on this chassis. That tensiometer will need a clean, so pop it back up to high power. Pop the scale on the meter halfway. Yeah, so that just needs a clean, but we'll sort that. There you go. So it's just dropped a bit low. 27. It should be 27,79125. So we'll bring that up a little bit when we do the tune-up. You can see the deviation is a bit on the low side. We can see that on the spectrum analyzer as well. There we go. No surprise on receive. It's doing 0.4 of a microvolt for 12 dB synad there. So that's very good on receive, as we know these are excellent on receive, and we can wind our RF gain up and down and just drops off there, so that we know that that's working. So yeah, hopefully this will just be a tune-up, and more of the problem is this fascia. I wonder what we can do there. I mean, I could probably let's turn that down. I could probably it might take some time, but I could probably do this outline, measure it up and do the outline in Adobe Illustrator and put some text over it. It's a bit of a job. I might check on I'm sure somebody on eBay is doing these plates. I'll check first before we do that, and of course Steve might not want that doing anyway. Really all you need is a little sticker to go around these switches, isn't it, so you can see what the switches do. I actually think it looks actually quite nice with the reflective side there, so I might just pop him a little sticker in there just to show what they do, and he can always peel that off then, can't he? So I'll probably do that on my little label printer, so that'll be nice and quick. First thing to do is to get it on frequency. You can see the little red trimmer in the bottom of the screen there. That is called CT2 on the Rotel service information, and it may well be called CT123 on the actual board, but that is the one you want to adjust by the crystal there in transmit to get it on frequency. So we'll do that first. There we go, 27,79125, spot on. Now I've got no reason to suspect the VCO isn't locking. It's transmitting the same power on 40 as it is on channel 1, but I will just check the voltages there for the VCO. Alright, so you're looking to get your probe there on the top of that resistor R4, and on channel 40 you're looking for 4 volts on receive and 4 volts on transmit, and then you change to channel 1 and you're looking for between 1.8 volts and 2.5 volts at the same point. And if you're not getting that, you adjust T1 and CT1. It's in the service manual anyway, so that's the 2 adjustments that you make there. But yeah, it's worth getting the service manual if you are going to attempt to service one of these, because it's all explained in there. And there we go. On channel 1 we got 2.2 on transmit, 2.2 on receive, so that's absolutely perfectly locked on. I thought it was anyway, but it's always worth checking these if you're not sure. Right, now I suspect this is already peak anyway, but to peak the transmit we do T2, T3 and T4, and then we'll move on to that section as much as we can do with those anyway. But I expect these are peak anyway, but I'll just quickly whiz through those. Alright, because these are so badly mangled and I haven't got any spares, I've had to balance it as good as I can, and we've now got the transmit power just over 4 watts there, just a shade over 4 watts. That will drop down once it's been on for a second. That's on channel 40, and then on channel 1 we've got exactly the same. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the power to be exactly the same on both channel 40 and channel 1. But what I will do, I'll put that on the spectrum analyzer on the Tiny SA, just to check that we haven't got any rogue harmonics there. We shouldn't have. These are normally pretty good. So low power adjustment. Now these are always a problem with these being dirty. So first thing I'm going to do is switch clean. There it is. You can see there the trimmer at the back there in the middle of your screen. I shall pop some cleaner on that first, give it a twaddle, and then we'll see if we can adjust that. Also worth giving the switch a clean at the back as well. I've just sprayed some cleaner in there and we'll give that a wiggle around. Let's just see if we've got our low power function back. There we go. We've got our low power function back. I've actually set it at 0.5 of a watt. If I dropped it down to 0.4, it was a bit intermittent. Like I mentioned to Richard at UKCB Servicing, I think looking at the circuit, it's a very low current adjustment that is on that, and I think what happens is these pots get tarnished over time, and in the past I've had to really clean those or actually replace them to get it to work correctly. So if you are having this problem where low power isn't working correctly on this chassis, it's worth giving that a really good clean, and the switch, and if that doesn't do it, replace the trimmer there. You can get those skeleton trimmers on eBay, and I think RS do them as well, so and Rapid do them. So if you want to replace them like for like, that's what I would do. So that's I always see that as an issue, so I thought I'd mention it. So transmit power meter now, and for that one you're looking at RV4, which you can see there right next to the edge of the case. You can see on this it's there or thereabouts. I'll bring it back just so it sits on the 4. And there we go. Like I say, they're only relative to SWR those, so don't pay too much attention to that needle on transmit. Right. Although it is worth checking sometimes, because if you pop that switch into the wrong position, as I have done before, and you're thinking, why am I not getting out? There you go, that's why. So what are we now? Deviation. Yeah, that was low, wasn't it? Right, for deviation you're looking at RV2, that one there, and then R71, this one. Move this to the center position, so the little fork in the middle is right at the center, and then adjust that one with a deviation meter or your SDR, whatever you're using, a radio you can even use, obviously, and just get a feel for it, and hopefully you can get your modulation, your deviation somewhere near. That's about right. I'll just show you. 1, 2. So we're looking for between 2 and 3 there, a maximum. You can see on the dial. And that's spot on. Right, it just leaves receive to do, which was pretty good, as you could see there. But I'm sure we can probably get an improvement. And as it's the Fidelity 2000, we do have the extra staging on receive as well. So we might better bring this even lower. These are very good on receive, the Fidelity 2000. Although I mentioned on one of Richard's videos, I've had 2 or 3 Fidelity 2000s where I've not been happy with the transmit audio, and I can't understand that, because it's the same board that's in a Rotel 240 Binatone, is it the 5-star, whatever it's called? It's the same board, so and they're always all good. So maybe I've just had a couple of bad ones, abused Fidelity 2000s. Well, somebody's abused this because they've stolen the fascia off the front of it. Right, let's go through and do receive. We were doing 0.4 of our microvolt for 12 dB synad. I won't go through receive because we've seen it a million times on this chassis. All I'll say is I can almost guarantee that we'll get a really good pickup off of this one and that one. Let's go through it and just see if we can get it to improve a little bit. What we will do first, actually, I'll show you this. We'll just adjust the maximum received audio. Okay, and there's our waveform coming in. I'll just switch it on so you can hear it. There you go, it's a little bit noisy, so we'll turn it down. Always good to get a little bit more volume out of the radio when you do this adjustment, but sometimes that can be a bit too loud for you to listen to, so I have a little switch which we knock the speaker out with. Okay, let's adjust T12 for maximum then. We'll take it, there you go, we've got a bit more you can see there, so we can take it all the way down and bring it up to maximum. We'll have a listen to that as well, just to make sure, because sometimes you can actually get these, they might sound a little bit better, a slightly lesser signal, so you should really listen to it as well, but I'm going to peak it up to maximum. There we go. Right, for the FM detector, with the oscilloscope, you're looking to adjust T12, that one down there in the bottom corner. And there we go, got it to 0.26 of a microvolt for 12 decibels cyanide, and we'll see where we can hear this down to. That's 0.1 of a microvolt, and we're still hearing it absolutely fine there. Okay, let's get the meter adjusted suitably. So with a 100 microvolt signal on there, we're looking for an S9 signal, which we've got on the meter. And if you need to adjust it, it is that trimmer there, RV3, just above the T12 can. That's what you adjust for your signal meter. Well, that's absolutely spot on, so no need for any adjustment. Well, it's looking like we're going to need to adjust the squelch. We've got the squelch, we've got it there. The squelch is fully shut. We've got it on 63 microvolts. And if we wind this down a little bit, let's see when it goes off. It's going off at about 40 microvolts, so we need to bring that up so it just goes off at about 90. Squelch adjustment is done on RV1, which you can see hiding there underneath the wires. We'll go and do that now. There's the squelch. It's rolling off at about 93, coming in at just 95, so not much hysteresis on it there, but that's fine. Let's check it at the low end. Very sensitive radio this, we're at 0.15 of a microvolt. And it's coming in at 0.2. Okay, so a little bit, not the best squelch in the world. These aren't renowned for having the best squelch, but that's not too bad. That's certainly usable and a very, very sensitive radio. I'm not surprised that we managed to get it from 0.4, was it, down to 0.26, so that's quite a good gain. So very, very sensitive radio. Should serve Steve well, depending on what he wants to do with this, but a good radio to take out and about, sit on a hilltop with, because it's got some very good ears on it. Right, that leaves me to put a plug on the noise cancelling microphone. It didn't say whether this worked or not, I don't know. It appears to, I don't think these have a battery in, do they? I think the noise cancelling is the offset plenum chamber in there between the microphone and the actual housing. It works in a similar fashion to the, I think it was the interceptor microphones, and the LCL communicator had that, didn't it? So yes, I think there's no battery in that, it's just a mechanical function. What I'll do is take the back off to give it a little bit of a clean first with some switch cleaner, because the contacts may be tarnished. It just depends how well this thing's been stored. And there we go. If you've got one of these and you need to know the details, there's the manual that comes with the DM435, which shows you the mic units connected in parallel there, and your yellow signal wire output, your black for your receive, and your red for your transmit, and then your ground wire. Okay, so that may or may not be useful, but we'll get the Fidelity 2000 pin out for the microphone done, and we'll stick a plug on that. And then I think we'll probably do another test of the deviation, just to make sure we're still okay there, because I think this is going to be used with that radio, with the radio, so we'll do that. Well, that's interesting. It does indeed have two offset microphones here. Somebody might want to explain to me how that works. Noise cancelling, they're offset, that might have something to do with it, but I'm not so sure how that would cancel the noise. Answers on a postcard. I'll just drop a little bit of switch cleaner in that switch. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? I'm hoping that these coils are still good. I will check them with the meter, but we'll do a modulation test with it anyway. Okay, so I've just measured the resistance of the coils for both these in parallel, and it's coming up at 167 ohms. Now typically your dynamic microphone elements are about 400 ohms, so I will need to pop this back on the Heath kit, the deviation meter, because that will probably spike the deviation up a bit more because of the lower resistance coil there. So that's something to watch for. Okay, I didn't put the back on this or the plug, didn't assemble the plug, and we're not getting any deviation, any modulated audio coming out of that, so we're going to have to look into that. Very often there's a reason why these things turn up cheap second-hand. Let's look at this. It could just be the cable, but I suspect that it's these elements aren't any good. Okay, right, so we've got the yellow wire. We're checking the yellow wire from the switch to the plug. You can see we've got continuity there, so we're good. But the problem that we've got is when we push the PTT button, we bridge these pins here. This is a little bit bright and dazzling, but those two pins on the end should bridge, and they're not. So when we key up like this, we're not getting the signal return from the microphone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over and use the unused set of pins at the top. I'll check them first, but we're going to use these two pins, the new pins on the end, and hopefully that will solve the problem. Right, so we've got the meter hooked up, and as we push the PTT in, you can see we've got 0.2 of an ohm, which is just really the resistance of these leads, and a little bit of a resistance in the contact, so that's good. So we know we can now swap those two leads over to the other side of the switch, and we should be in business, hopefully. Okay, got the mic all connected now, a new plug, and so move those contacts, but it seems to work the opposite. It's actually reduced the deviation. That's with a whistle, but normal voice seems quite low. It seems it's obviously the acoustics how it works, but it is noise reducing, but it obviously is yeah, to the point where it's quite low. So I'll just show you the standard Rotel mic here in comparison. It's a bog standard working Rotel mic, same pin out. 1 2 1 2. See, just normal modulation is peaking nicely. It's coming up on the speaker as well, but that happens sometimes. So yeah, yeah, it is noise cancelling, the other one, but it's also voice cancelling. Right, so that is done. Microphones always take long. The microphone took me long to sort than the rig. Oh dear, I don't like messing with microphones. They take ages. So anyway, there we go. We've sorted the microphone, although I'll have to do some on-air testing with it to see how it sounds. Unless you're on a windy hilltop, I'm not sure I would use that noise cancelling microphone, but it's a nice vintage microphone, and it's now working, which it wasn't working before, but it's definitely working now. Right, so really I think let's see what we can do with this label on the front. I'm going to button it back together, button the cases back together. I might give the front a little bit of a squirt with some foam, possibly. Maybe I'm going to clean those switches actually. I might give them a little clean, and maybe the controls as well, just a little puff of, because I think the volume was a bit scratchy. So we'll do that, and then we'll perhaps clean the front up and then see what we can do about this label, and that's the last thing really. There we go, they're a little bit better. Right, let's just have a look at the front of the radio. It's not too bad, but we'll give it a quick swizz over. Yeah, see, it's not so bad. Let's see if we can just zhuzhy it up a little bit. Right, that's a lot better. It's got a lot of the dirt out of the nooks and crannies. So what to do about this label then? I wonder how hard it's going to be to make something up. And if I do it, shall I do the whole label? I quite like the chrome. I quite like how that looks. But you got that sort of screw hole there. I know on my 2000 somebody's put a TX and an RX LED in that spot. I've drilled it through, but I quite like the look of the chrome. Maybe we should just do a Could do a little label just to go around those switches, see how that looks. And like I say, if Steve did want a proper fascia label doing, I've got my own radio here I can use for measurements, so if I had some time I could always knock one up and get one printed in some sort of vinyl. That'd look quite nice, but I actually think it looks nicer in chrome than it does in black, if I'm being honest. So let's just do a little label around those switches, shall we? I think that'll be fine. There we go, that looks a little bit better. Nice laminated label there, so we can see what everything does, which is great. And you know, I'm sure with a bit more time and effort I could do one that would cover the whole thing. That's just fine. So what we got to do, that's it. Let's button the cases on and see if we can get hold of Mick, and we'll definitely do a test between these two microphones. I think this is more of this is one I would keep as a nice museum piece rather than use to any great effect, I think. Yeah, okay. There we go. I think that's looking a lot better, as you can see. It's better with the label on it, and it's cleaned up rather nicely. So I think it's definitely an improvement with the chrome on the outside. Actually, I think it looks nicer than the sort of scabby black fascia you normally get on here. And this mic, you know, although it doesn't seem to work that great, it's certainly it's vintage, isn't it? It's very, very vintage, sort of new old stock. So nobody about, as you can see. I'll just drop the squelch down. No one on, but I'm sure we can encourage Mick to come on here to do a little test with us, and we'll see how this performs. I think it should do quite well, and yeah, it's come together nicely. Right, it's now the next day. We're just waiting for Mick to come back, and we'll do a little video here. I'm not going to use the noise cancelling microphone. It does work, but it's not as good as the standard Rotel mic, so I'll probably recommend Steve doesn't use the noise cancelling microphone. It's a great looking mic, but I would probably swap it out and put a standard mic coil insert in there, and those two working together in tandem don't seem to work that great. So yeah, I'm back on channel 4. As soon as I drop carrier I will start videoing. And there's Mick, so we can start in a minute. Okay Mick, I'm standing by, Rog. Oh. Yeah, okay Paul, it's all yours, fire away. Okay, here we go then Mick. We've got the Fidelity 2000. This is one of my buddy Steve's radios. He sent me a lot of radios to repair, and sorry, the top out there. And he also sent a noise cancelling microphone, new old stock Altai microphone. It's the M66V, which is lovely looking, but I don't think it's working too well. I have got it working a lot better than it was, but a bit quiet on the quiet side. So I'm using a standard Rotel microphone here, so a factory mic for Rotel, which is why the same as this Fidelity. I wonder how it sounds at your end, Rod. Yeah, hello there, Paul. Well, it's afternoon now, isn't it? Yes, it is. I've got to stop getting up late in the morning. Right, yes, you sound absolutely perfect coming through on that. I think you said it was a Fidelity radio and a Rotel mic, is that correct? I'll put it back to you, but no, there's no problems at all with audio. Yeah, Roger D there, Mike. Yeah, Roger D there, Mike. It's a Rotel microphone, a proper old school mic, which I know works well. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think you want to use it with the noise cancelling mic, and I've got the deviation turned up as high as I can with that, and it's still not really cutting it. So it's more of a voice cancelling mic than a noise cancelling mic there. So yeah, back in the day, I suppose in a noisy truck and stuff, it might be useful, but no, I really wouldn't. I would probably pass that on eBay and get a normal microphone for it. Just a standard coffin mic work very well with the Fidelities, and yeah, you're sounding great. You're on the T800, and you're sounding really good coming through on this radio. Really nice and crisp there, Rod. Yeah, okay, all copied, Paul, thank you. Yeah, so yeah, you're definitely good. Definitely good. Do you want to try the other mic on it, just a quick one, or shall we call it a day as it is? Yeah, Rog, no, we'll do that. I think the viewers find that kind of thing interesting. So we'll, you just carry on recording. I'll swap the microphone over and we'll pause the video when I edit it. So just keep recording. I'll swap the mics now. Right, we're now using the Altai noise cancelling microphone. This is the Delta Mic 56 Victor. Right, we're now using the Altai noise cancelling microphone. This is the Delta Mic 56 Victor microphone, according to the box. The new old stock microphone, and I think it is a little bit quieter. I'm talking at the same volume level as I was with the other microphone there, Nick. I wonder how different it sounds with your end there. Go ahead.
Yeah, all copied, Paul, but it's definitely lower. Audio level is a lot lower than what it was off the other microphone, and in fact I was the other microphone. And in fact, although I copied it, I was struggling a little bit to copy all of it. Right, let's change over, back over to the Rotel microphone. Back to you, Paul. Yeah, Roger D there, I've changed over back to the Rotel microphone. Back to the Rotel microphone, and so we can instantly see the difference or hear the difference. That sounds better, does it, Rod? Yeah, that's a lot better. Really a lot better. Yeah, and you're sounding great. Obviously the Chair 100, as we always push on this channel, a fantastic start of TV radio for people. You know, if they don't want to go vintage or have to, you know, get the radio set up when they buy them second hand, you can't really go far wrong with the Chair 100 as usual, sounding absolutely superb at your end there, Mick. I'll just quickly do another thing. We'll switch it down to low power just to see what difference that's making your end. As I'm speaking, I'm going to run the switch down. So now that's me down to low power and then back up to high power, right? Back up to high power. Just got to change the battery in the camera there, Mick. Right, we've got popped a new battery back in the camera. Hi there, Mick. Right, I am back now. I don't know if you're still recording at your end, Rog.
Yeah, I'm still recording my end. I thought I pressed the button to stop recording, but I hadn't. I didn't press it hard enough, I don't think.
Okay, that's fine. Well, okay there, Mick. We'll wrap this video up for today. Really appreciate you coming back to me there to do a test. Like I say, it's always tricky to know how these radios sound. And I'm glad that this one is sounding pretty decent. And I'm sure Steve will be very, very pleased. It had the front label missing off of it, and I printed him a little label on the printer there to help with that. And the Fidelity 2000, not always my favourite rig, the Fidelity 2000s. I've had a few duffers, I think, that's why. But this one's definitely not a duffer. This one is a nice, well-used example, and it's certainly working lovely. So, if you have been, thank you ever so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.
Please remember to like and subscribe to Noxyman for more content like this. Many thanks for watching. Take care.